Welcome class 12th. Today in this part we will discuss the topic properties of colloidal solution. As in our previous video I have already discussed the topic preparation of colloidal solution. Now it's turn for properties of colloidal solution. So let's start. Properties. Colloidal solution shows many properties. So some properties are here. First is physical property. Colloidal solution. On the basis of physical property we can say that colloidal solutions are heterogeneous in nature. It means colloidal solution has two phases. One is disperse phase and another one is dispersion medium, and these two phases are heterogeneous in nature. They do not mix with each other. Second, on the basis of physical property we can say that the colloidal particles or the solutions are stable in nature. It means when the two particles are there in a solution of colloid, then they do not settle down in the solution. So we can say that the colloidal particles are stable in nature. Next is ability to filter, filterability. This we can say that the colloidal particles can easily pass through a normal filter paper. Why it is so? Because the particle size of colloids which is lie between 1 to 1000 nanometer, and it is less as compared to the pore size of the filter paper, so they can easily pass through the ordinary filter paper. So this is all about the physical property of colloids. Now come to the next property, that is mechanical property of colloid. This property we will discuss in detail. Third property is optical property. This will also be discussed in detail. Fourth is electrical property. This will also be discussed in detail. Come to the colligative property. As we know that colloidal particles being bigger in their size, they can get aggregate. They have a tendency to form aggregation as compared to true solutions. As we compare colloidal solutions with true solutions, so we know that true colloidal solutions are bigger as compared to true solutions, and we know that true solution particle size for true solution is less than 1 nanometer, and for colloid the particle size is in between 1 to 1000 nanometer. Now what will happen? As the colloidal particles are bigger in size, so they can get aggregate and form a bigger molecule. So due to this, the values of colligative properties, we have discussed some colligative properties in our chapter solution. So the values of colligative properties like osmotic pressure, lowering in vapor pressure, dispersion in depression in freezing point, elevation in boiling point, these all four colligative properties are of smaller order for colloidal solution as compared to the true solution. Because in this case, for colloidal particle, as they get aggregate, the number of particles per liter of a sol is relatively small, and the mass is higher as compared to true solution, and we know that colligative properties are inversely proportional to mass. So as the mass is higher, so their colligative property will get decreases. So this is the properties of colloidal particles. Now first we will discuss about mechanical properties. Now come to the mechanical properties. Mechanical properties, since we know that colloidal particles are very close or very, they can only be seen with the help of microscope. We can't see the colloidal particle with our naked eye. They only be seen by the microscope. So when colloidal solution are viewed under a powerful ultra microscope, the colloidal particles appear to be in a state of a continuous zigzag motion all over the field to view. So this is the property of colloidal particle. When colloidal particles can be seen under a microscope, then we can see that the colloidal particle will be in a zigzag motion. Now this movement is known as Brownian movement, and this was firstly discovered by a scientist known as Robert Brown. रॉबर्ट ब्राउन ने इस मूवमेंट को, उन्होंने इस प्रॉपर्टी को डिस्कवर किया था। उन्होंने सबसे पहले जो वर्क किया, उन्होंने कुछ पोलन ग्रेन्स पे उन्होंने वर्क करा। पोलन ग्रेन्स इज ऑल्सो अ कोलॉइडल सॉल्यूशन इन विच ही discovered or he identified that on viewing that pollen grains under a microscope, he found that pollen grains, the molecules of the pollen grains in water can be easily shown under a microscope. Now he assumed that these particles are moving. These particles were moving under the water, and from that he concluded that the colloidal particles always present in the zigzag motion. This can be seen from here. The colloidal particle shows this type of motion. Since it is a colloidal particle, it will collide or with get pushes with the other molecule, and then it provide the force to the other one, provide energy to another particle, then this will provide energy to this, and like this the zigzag motion will be there. So ब्राउनियन मूवमेंट में जो जिगजैग मोशन होता है, एक्चुअली होता कब है, जब ये कोलॉइडल पार्टिकल प्रेजेंट होंगे एक सॉल्यूशन में, तो वहाँ पे डिस्पर्जन मीडियम प्रेजेंट होगा। इफ़ वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट कोलॉइड, तो डिस्पर्जन मीडियम होगा। डिस्पर्जन मीडियम के जो मॉलिक्यूल होंगे, दैट मॉलिक्यूल विल कोलाइड विद द पार्टिकल्स ऑफ डिस्पर्स फेस। वो डिस्पर्स फेस के पार्टिकल से कोलॉइड करेंगे, और जैसे ही वो कोलिजन करेंगे, तो ड्यू टू द काइनेटिक थ्योरी ऑफ गैसेस, कोलिजन की वजह से क्या होगा, काइनेटिक थ्योरी ऑफ गैसेस हमने पढ़ा हुआ है, इसकी वजह से जो पार्टिकल होगा, नेक्स्ट पार्टिकल को एनर्जी मिल जाएगी। जब कोलिजन होगा, नेक्स्ट पार्टिकल को एनर्जी मिलेगी, और ये पार्टिकल रोल होके जाएगा दूसरे पार्टिकल पे, और ये इसको एनर्जी प्रोवाइड करेगा। सिमिलरली ये वाला पार्टिकल इसे एनर्जी प्रोवाइड करेगा, और इसी तरीके से एक मोशन चलता रहेगा पार्टिकल्स का, जो एक दूसरे को एनर्जी प्रोवाइड कराएंगे, एंड दैट मोशन इज अ जिग-जैग मोशन। सो दिस इज ब्राउनियन मूवमेंट, जो ब्राउनियन ने ऑब्जर्व करा, तो इस मोशन को हम कहते हैं जिग-जैग मोशन। नाउ दिस मोशन इज इंडिपेंडेंट ऑफ द नेचर ऑफ द कोलॉइड। This motion has a characteristic that Brownian motion is independent of the nature of the colloid. किसी भी टाइप का हम कोलॉइड ले लें, वो उसके नेचर के तो इंडिपेंडेंट रहेगा, उस पर डिपेंड नहीं करेगा, बट दिस ब्राउनियन मूवमेंट कैन डिपेंड्स ओनली ऑन द साइज ऑफ पार्टिकल विच वी आर यूजिंग। उस साइज पे डिपेंड करेगा ये ब्राउनियन मोशन, अगर पार्टिकल के साइज पे, और दूसरा विस्कोसिटी ऑफ द सॉल्यूशंस पे। if the particle size is small, then what will happen? If particle size is small, then we can conclude that the Brownian movement will be more. If particle size is small, then movement will be more. जितना छोटा पार्टिकल होगा, उतना ज़्यादा उस पार्टिकल का मूवमेंट होगा। और जितनी विस्कोसिटी, अगर स्मॉल साइज है और दूसरा डिपेंड कर रहा है विस्कोसिटी पे, इफ विस्कोसिटी ऑफ द सॉल्यूशन इज लेस, इफ सॉल्यूशन इज लेस विस्कस, देन द मूवमेंट विल बी हायर और द मूवमेंट विल बी लार्ज। सो अगर हमारे पास में पार्टिकल साइज छोटा है, तो मूवमेंट बहुत इजीली होगा, क्योंकि छोटे पार्टिकल्स हैं, जल्दी मूव करेंगे और दूसरे को एनर्जी प्रोवाइड करेंगे, वो मूव करेगा, दूसरे को एनर्जी प्रोवाइड करेगा। और विस्कोसिटी अगर सॉल्यूशन की कम है, सॉल्यूशन कम विस्कस है, तो उसकी जो मूवमेंट होता है, जो एनर्जी होती है पार्टिकल्स की, जो मूवमेंट है, वो बहुत ज़्यादा होता है। वहीं पर अगर यही चीज़ अगर अपोजिट हो, साइज अगर ज़्यादा हो और विस्कोसिटी भी ज़्यादा हो सॉल्यूशन की, तो मूवमेंट ऑफ द पार्टिकल विल बी लेस। पार्टिकल बहुत धीरे से मूव करेगा, अगर इसका साइज बहुत बड़ा है, फिर बहुत धीरे जाएगा, तो इसको यहाँ एनर्जी देगा। तो दिस इज ऑल अबाउट ब्राउनियन मूवमेंट, जो कोलॉइडल पार्टिकल शो करते हैं, और वो कैसा बिहेवियर शो करते हैं, अ जिग-जैग मोशन। नाउ कम टू द थर्ड property of colloid, that is optical properties. Colloid have a tendency to show optical properties as well. Optical means when colloid shows their properties in the presence of light. So such type of properties are known as optical properties. Now first of all, in optical properties we will discuss Tyndall effect. As in our previous classes we have discussed this topic, Tyndall effect. Now what is Tyndall effect? The cause of Tyndall effect is the scattering of light by the colloidal particle. The Tyndall effect is only causes by the scattering of light by the colloidal particles. These particles, colloid particles, scattered light in all the direction in space. Since we know that if we have a solution, if we have a colloidal solution in which different particles of colloid are present, which can only be seen under a ultra microscope, these are present, and as we passes the light, through this solution, as we passes a light, this is a light source, suppose. Now what will happen? The light will get scattered. Why it will get scattered? It will get scattered due to the presence of these colloidal particles, which are not completely soluble with the dispersion medium. This is due to the dispersed phase particle, which are not completely dissociated, which are not completely miscible with the dispersion medium particle. So these particles scattered light in all direction. These particles have a tendency to scattered light in all directions. So this is Tyndall effect, which can be shown by the colloidal particle, where the colloidal particle has a tendency to scatter light in all direction. Now this can be seen here, as we have source of light, and here is lens is present, so source of light will pass through the lens. And if I have a true solution here and a colloidal solution, now what will happen to the beam of light, to the source of light? The source of light will pass through the true solution, and there will no visible path will be shown under the true solution. Here no visible path will be shown. No path of light will be shown under the true solution. If I have two glass, and in one glass I have true solution, a mixture of salt and water, and in another glass or in another beaker I have a solution of milk or a solution of starch and water. Now what is the difference between that? The difference will be there that from the true solution, as we passes the source of light, the source of light will have no path, will do not show any path of light. The true solution will not show any path of light, whereas in colloidal solution the path of light can be visible under the beaker, inside the beaker. That light, the path of light can be visible inside the beaker. Why? Because of the presence of colloidal particles. As the light comes, it will strike on these colloidal particles, and these colloidal particles will then scatter the light in all direction. But here in case of true solution, because there is no particle, all the particles are individually soluble with the water. All the particles are soluble with the water, so there is no particle which can be seen by the naked eye, even with the microscope. So what will happen? The light will not show any path in the true solution, but it will show path in the colloidal solution. Due to the presence of the colloidal particle, they will scatter the light. This effect is known as Tyndall effect. Now the Tyndall effect can be used to distinguish between a true solution and a colloidal solution as well. Colloidal solution shows Tyndall effect, whereas true solution do not show Tyndall effect. They will show Tyndall effect, and the true solutions will not show Tyndall effect. Why it is so? It is because of the particle nature of true solution and colloidal solution. The particle nature of true solution is less than 1 nanometer. They do not scatter the light, whereas the particle nature of colloidal solution is in between 1 to 1000 nanometer, and they can be seen by the ultra microscope in the solution, which will scatter the light in all direction. So this is all about Tyndall effect, which is the optical property of colloid. Now come to the next optical property is color. The color of the colloidal solution depends on the wavelength of the light scattered by the dispersed phase. अब जो कलर होगा, अगर हमें नेक्स्ट ऑप्टिकल प्रॉपर्टी है, कलर भी हमें लाइट की वजह से ही विजिबल होता है. अगर जब लाइट प्रेजेंट होगी तभी हम किसी कलर को विजिबल देख सकते हैं. तो जो लाइट है, जो कलर है किसी भी कोलॉइडल सॉल्यूशन का, वो डिपेंड करता है वेवलेंथ ऑफ द लाइट. जो भी लाइट स्कैटर्ड हो रही है उसकी वेवलेंथ पे डिपेंड करेगा कलर ऑफ द कोलॉइडल सॉल्यूशन. Now the wavelength of the light further depends on the size and the nature of the particle. और जो वो वेवलेंथ है, जो लाइट आ रही है उसकी वेवलेंथ भी किस पे डिपेंड करेगी? इट विल डिपेंड ऑन द साइज एंड द नेचर ऑफ द पार्टिकल्स. The color of the colloidal solutions also changes with the manner in which the observer receives the light. Colloidal solution has a tendency to change their color in the manner in which the observer receives the light. Now let's see an example. Suppose if we have a gold sol which is red in color, when the particles are finest, when the particles of gold are in finest form, they are in powdered form, then the color of the gold sol is in red color. But the size of the particles increases. As the size of the gold sol increases, then its color changes to purple. And then size, if further size increases, then it will changes to blue. And finally the gold particles shown as golden. When they are in their bigger size, then they shows as golden color. When they are in their finest state, when the size of the gold sol particle is very less, then they are in their red color. So the color of the colloidal solution depends on the wavelength, and the wavelength of the light further depends on size and the nature of the particle. If the size of the particle is finest for gold sol, then the color is red, and if the size becomes bigger for the gold sol or increases, then the color changes to purple, then blue, and then finally it is golden in color. So this is the optical property of colloid. Next property is electrical property. Colloidal particles always carry an electric charge. This charge is same on the all particles in a given colloidal solution, and this charge may be positive or negative. The colloidal particle may carry the charge positive charge or negative charge. After the adsorption of the charge, if the colloid becomes positive, then such type of colloid is known as positive colloid. And after the adsorption of negative charge, when the colloid becomes negative, then the such type of colloid is known as negative colloid, or the solution is known as negative colloidal solution or positive colloidal solution. So let's see with an example. Suppose I have AgNO3 and this AgNO3 gets mixed with NaI, and when this NaI is present in excess, now after mixing I will form a colloid, and that colloid is of AgI. This colloid will be formed here, which will be of AgI. Now what will happen, and in the solution, since NaI is in excess, so what will Na positive will be in the solution, I negative will be in the solution, and NO3 from AgNO3 will be in the solution. Since silver ion or silver metal has more tendency to attract the halogen, so it will be get attracted by the halogen and it form a colloidal solution of AgI. Now what will happen, this is the colloidal sol of AgI. Now what will happen, as we have already discussed in the peptidization of the peptidization of the colloid, where we have discussed the preparation of the colloid, in which where the colloid solution has the preferential adsorption by the similar ion of the solution in the solution. Since the similar ion which is present in the solution is I negative, common ion in the solution which is I negative, common ion of colloid which is present in the solution is I negative, so this I negative will get adsorbed on the surface of this colloid. Adsorption of this charge on the colloid surface will takes place. Now what will happen, as the charge, as this negative charge is adsorbed on the surface of colloid, so this colloid will be known as negative colloid. Similarly, if I am taking another example, if I am reversing this term, if I am taking an example of AgNO3 get mixed with NaI, but here in this situation AgNO3 is in excess. Now what will happen? Again a formation of a colloid AgI will takes place. Now in the solution remaining terms are Na positive which is in limited form, I negative which is in limited form, but it get combines with AgI here, so I negative will not be there, but it is in limited form. NO3 will be there, and Ag positive because it is in excess, it will be there. Now what will happen, as I already told you, the ion which will be common among colloidal sole, this will be the sole, and the solution that will get combined. So here the in on the surface of this colloid, the adsorption of Ag positive ion will takes place. So as the positive ion takes place on the or adsorb on the surface of the colloid, then this type of the colloid is known as positive colloid. This is known as positive colloid. And as we know that in our solution, here are some other ions are also present, and in the solution, suppose this is one layer of the colloid due to the negative charge, and the another layer of the ions which will be, since the ions are also present, Na positive which is in excess also present in this case, here Na is in excess, so this will be all present in the solution also. Now what will be happen, due to this Na positive, there will be one more layer in the solution. Same for negative colloid and same for the positive colloid also. If we have here the in excess NO3 negative is in excess, तो ये जो NO3 होंगे, NO3 नेगेटिव जो नाइट्रेट आयन होंगे, ये एक और लेयर क्रिएट कर रहे होंगे इस कोलॉइड के पॉजिटिव लेयर के बाहर से, एक और नेगेटिव लेयर क्रिएट हो रही होगी. तो इस तरीके से जब ये दो लेयर्स क्रिएट हो रही होंगी, तो जो पहली वाली जो लेयर होती है, जो कोलॉइड के चार्ज सिमिलर चार्ज की उससे जो एड्सॉर्प्शन के उससे जो लेयर होती है, उसको हम बोलते हैं फिक्स्ड लेयर. दैट लेयर इज नोन एज फिक्स्ड लेयर और द फर्स्ट लेयर. और जो दूसरे जो सॉल्यूशन के आयन की वजह से जो लेयर डेवलप हुई, एक लेयर तो डेवलप हुई थी इस Ag पॉजिटिव चार्ज की वजह से, उस लेयर को हम बोलते हैं फिक्स्ड लेयर. और जो दूसरी लेयर डेवलप होगी जो सॉल्यूशन के आयन की वजह से डेवलप हो रही है, इस लेयर को बोलते हैं हम मोबाइल लेयर और द मूवेबल लेयर. नाउ व्हाट विल हैपन, सिंस this layer is known as mobile layer because it is due to the presence of solution ions. So the solution ion has a tendency to move, but this fixed layer is due to the adsorption of the common ion of solution and the colloid. So this layer will be a fixed layer. Now the difference between these two charges, the difference between the charge of fixed layer and the mobile layer, that difference of will give a potential, and that potential is known as zeta potential. The difference due to the charge developed by the fixed layer and the charge developed by the mobile layer, that potential difference is known as zeta potential. So here from this, the fixed layer of colloid can be written as this will be the fixed layer, whereas the mobile layer will be written as like this. This will be known as fixed layer or the first layer, and this will be the mobile layer which is from the solution ion. This is the mobile layer. Now the difference between this fixed layer, charge of fixed layer, and the charge of mobile layer is known as zeta potential, and this theory is known as double layer theory. This theory is known as double layer theory, which is shown by the colloid. Double layer theory of the colloidal charge, which is shown by the colloidal particles. So that's all for today. That's all for the properties of the colloid. We will meet in our next video with our next topic. Thank you.